Welcome, everybody. We're glad you joined us tonight. Welcome to the Alameda County Water District's virtual community meeting to provide a brief drought update on local dry year impacts in 2021 and 2022. Thanks for tuning in today to today's update. And as we're facing what looks to be a third dry year ahead, and we want to keep our customers informed on the latest conditions and ways they can save water. My name is Laura Heides, Director of Water Resources, and I'd like to share a few notes on logistics before we get started. To ensure the best sound quality on Zoom, we ask that attendees remain muted unless speaking, in particular if you are both using your computer and dialing in by phone. If you need to get our attention, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom or enter a note in the chat. If you have questions that come up during the presentation, please type them in the Q&A feature, and we will do our best to answer all the questions at the end of the presentation. For anyone participating by phone only, you can press *9 to raise your hand to get the moderator's attention and *6 to mute or unmute yourself. Also, we thank you in advance for your patience if we experience any technical difficulties. And in that event, please bear with us as we get back up and running. We're also recording today's meeting to make the information available to others that may be interested but unable to join today. So we'll have about a short 20-minute presentation followed by a moderated question and answer period. And we really look forward to your questions during that time. And so we encourage you to think about them and get them into the Q&A as we go. So we wanted to also make everybody aware that this meeting has been noticed as a special board meeting of the Alameda County Water District, as we anticipated a quorum of directors could be present. At this time, it looks like we do have a quorum present, and will therefore conduct tonight's meeting as a special board meeting, and it is being recorded. So at this time, I'd request that one of the directors, which I believe that would be Director Gunther, is probably our senior member of the team that's here today. Director Gunther, we'd love to have you call the meeting to order, and we can begin with a roll call.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Laura, could you, Megan, give us a roll call here as to who's here this evening? I see Judy and Paul.
Sure, let me do that. I've got the time of 6:35, and I'll go ahead with the roll call. Director Weed. Director Gunther.
Here.
Director Wong.
Here.
Director Sethi.
Here.
And Director Akbari.
Okay. Then keeping with what we did earlier this afternoon, we'll forego the salute as we do not have a flag with us this evening. And Laura, go ahead and start it up.
Okie dokie, great. Now I'd like to introduce Megan Moreno and Giselle Delgadillo, the district's 2 water use efficiency specialists who will be making today's presentation. Megan and Giselle use their expertise on a daily basis to help customers find ways to conserve water and to implement the district's various water use efficiency, water use efficiency programs that are designed to achieve the district's long-term water savings goals. With the drought in full swing, they are busier than ever, and we're really glad to have them here today to share an update on the drought and, most importantly, what actions and tools customers can use to save water in our community. And before I turn the presentation over to the team, I realized that we did want to back up here briefly and just double check, Director Gunther, we do have public comments on matters of the agenda on the special meeting, and I forgot to point that out. So do you want to open comments briefly for anyone?
Sure, we can open up comments for the meeting, and we can take more comments as the session goes on. Is there anybody in the public that would like to comment on this evening's agenda?
And I'm not seeing any hands raised at this time.
Okay, seeing no hands raised, and we'll proceed. Plus, like I said, we'll take comments as the agenda goes on. It's pretty informal. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Director Gunther. So next, I'm ready to turn it over to Giselle and Megan to get us started.
Thank you so much, Ms. Heides, and thank you all so much for joining us on this very important topic, drought update, local dry year impacts in 2021 and 2022. I'm Megan Moreno, and I'd like to introduce my co-presenter today, Giselle.
Hi, everyone. My name is Giselle. Thank you for joining us this evening.
All right, well, to kick things off, I'll go over a brief overview of the agenda on the next slide. First, for those of you less familiar, we'll talk a little bit about ACWD, describe the current drought conditions, what ACWD is currently doing and what we have planned, and then open it up for a Q&A. Next slide. So for a little bit about ACWD, we serve Fremont, Newark, and Union City. That's about 105 square miles. And in the next slide, you'll see that we've actually been a water district since 1914. Next slide, please. And that is over 100 years. So we've been in the business quite a long time, serving over 357,000 customers with 84,000 connections. In a typical supply year, we have a diverse water supply portfolio, which is what you're seeing in the chart there. So 40% of our water supply in a typical year comes from the Alameda Creek watershed, which the Niles Cone groundwater basin and the Alameda Creek make up. And another additional 40% comes from the state water project, so it's imported from the state supply. And the remainder is coming from the San Francisco Public Utility Commission, which gets their water from Hetch Hetchy. Next slide, please. As you've heard in the news, and you're probably aware of, we've been experiencing extreme drought conditions for the past 2 years. So this is the second driest 2-year period in 150 years, and 100% of the state is now in drought. So Governor Newsom has called on all Californians to voluntarily reduce water by 15% compared to 2020. We can't deny that climate change is a factor. And so we've seen record high temperatures in 2021. And unfortunately, there's a current forecast to have a third dry year. So the message here is really that drought conditions are here and they're very persistent. And finally, the state water supplies, we're planning on a 0% allocation in 2022. Now, if you recall from the previous slide, the state water project makes up about 40% of our supplies in a normal year. So preparing for a 0% allocation allows us to really kind of get more conservative in our water use and get more strategic in our supply side. Next slide. Many of you probably experienced that atmospheric river. Was it 2 weekends ago? And this slide here is really to show how it measures up over the past 2 years. So this is our rainfall tracking gauge at the blending facility we have. And the black line at the bottom there is the water year 2021. So as you can see, it was very low compared to average, which is the red line. And that was pretty much the case for the year prior to that too. So we were way below average for our rainfall. Then you can see that one green dot in October at 4.89 inches. We received one of the most historic levels of rainfall in October that we've experienced. However, it was so much so fast that we weren't able to capture all of it, and it's really just a drop in the bucket when you compare the dry years we had for the past 2 years. So what are we doing about it? Giselle will next tell you about some of the current drought response.
Thank you, Megan. So ACWD has taken a number of actions to respond to current drought conditions, and one of those actions relates to our water supply planning. So in order to meet demands in 2021, which was a dry year, ACWD has had to augment its water supply by recovering banked water from Kern County. The district is also maximizing local storage in the San Luis Reservoir, Lake del Valle, and local groundwater basin in preparation for 2022. Next slide, please. So another action that ACWD has taken to respond to drought is launching the One Saves Water campaign. And this campaign encourages our customers to take simple and attainable everyday actions to conserve water. For example, irrigating their lawn one less day to save water, or cutting 1 minute from their shower to save water. This campaign is asking our customers for a 15% voluntary conservation to match the state of California's request for 15% voluntary conservation. And the district has been doing a lot of outreach to promote this campaign and get the message out there that it's important to conserve through a variety of different avenues, including digital media, local cable TV, newspaper ads, bill inserts, mailers, and promoting the information in community newsletters. Another aspect of this campaign is that we've been highlighting community stakeholders in videos on our social media pages, just having them speak and supporting conservation messaging so that members of the community can see a face that they recognize and feel inspired to take action and conserve as well. As part of this campaign, our water use efficiency team, along with our public affairs team, did some in-person community outreach for Imagine a Day Without Water a couple of weeks ago on October 21st. So our teams went out to a number of different locations in our service area and were tabling, providing information on the campaign, drought, and conservation tips to members of our community. And it was a great way to kind of take this message directly to members of our community and engage in person and spread the word that way. Next slide, please. So ACWD offers our customers a number of different water conservation programs. And on this slide, you'll see the programs that we offer our residential customers. And we've seen an increase in interest and participation by our customers in a few of these programs as a result of drought. And another action that we've taken to respond to drought is enhancing some of these conservation programs. So for example, for our turf replacement rebate program, we increased the rebate amount from $1 to $2 per square foot of lawn that our customers remove and replace with water efficient landscaping. And for our free energy and water savings assistance program that we offer our income qualified residents, we enhanced that by adding some new leak repair services. So having that as an additional resource for our income qualified residents to help them upgrade their fixtures and conserve, especially during drought. Every spring and fall, ACWD hosts landscape workshops, and the fall workshops have been drought themed. So back in September, we hosted a workshop that provided tips on how to convert lawns to water efficient landscape. And you can find the recordings for all our past workshops on our website if that's a topic that interests you. And we have our second workshop upcoming this Saturday. And I'll talk a little bit more about some of these programs in the next couple of slides, including how to sign up and attend the workshop. Next slide, please. So one of the programs that we wanted to highlight today in this presentation is our water efficient landscape rebate program. As mentioned, the rebate is for $2 per square foot of lawn that's replaced with water efficient landscaping, up to a maximum of $3,000 for our single family residential customers. So on this slide is a quick overview of the steps on how to participate in this program. You'll start off by determining the amount of lawn that you're going to be replacing. Then you will submit an application, photos of what your lawn currently looks like, and a list of low water use plants that you're planning to install. You'll submit all of that to our water use efficiency team. We'll review the materials and provide you with approval to move forward with your project. And it's very important that you submit these materials before you begin your project, because the rebate, we can only offer it to projects that receive pre-approval from our team and have not been started. So once we provide you approval, you can go ahead and work on your project, complete it. And then once you have finished your conversion, you'll submit some post-conversion materials to us, which include photos of what your new yard looks like, receipts for all your landscaping materials, a completed W-9 tax form, and a final plant list of the plants that you installed in your yard. So once we receive those materials, we'll review them. And if everything looks good and all the program terms and conditions were met, we will issue you your rebate. Next slide, please. So here are some key requirements of the program that we wanted to highlight if this sounds like something that would interest you and you would want to pursue applying to this rebate. So only low water use plants from approved plant list qualify for the rebate. And we have the plant list on our website at acwd.org/rebates. So you'll find all of this information, including the application, the approved plant list, and some other resources related to the program on that website. Another key requirement is that at least 50% of the converted area must be covered in low water use plants. And that's once the plants reach their full maturity. So, we understand if you initially plant, when you plant them, they won't it might not look like it covers that full 50%, but it should once they reach their full maturity size. This rebate does not require installation of an irrigation system, but if you do want to install one, it must be drip irrigation and existing sprinklers must be capped or removed. Any mulch that you install must be at least 3 inches in depth, and hardscape that you are looking to install must be permeable. This rebate does not cover impermeable hardscape such as concrete. Water must be able to seep through. Next slide, please. So another program we wanted to highlight is our Water Savings Assistance Partnership Program, which is a free water and energy efficiency program that we offer income qualified customers, and it is in partnership with PG&E. And if you qualify for this program, potential services that you'll receive include water and energy conservation home assessments, water and energy efficient device installations, including a toilet retrofit if your toilet qualifies to be replaced with a more higher efficiency toilet. We'll also provide ACWD water conservation program information, and then the new leak repair services that we added to this program as a response to drought. So these leak services include leak detection and repair for bathroom and kitchen faucets, toilet flappers, sprinkler heads, and outdoor hose bibs. And you can sign up by calling Bottom Line Utility Solutions, or BLUES, which is the subcontractor that conducts the energy and water savings assessments. And they will assist you in determining whether you qualify for the program and get you scheduled for that home assessment. Next slide, please. And finally, we wanted to highlight our upcoming landscape workshop that is on landscape maintenance and tree care during drought. So that's taking place this Saturday, November 6th from 10 to 11:30 a.m. And it is an online Zoom webinar, so it is free, but registration is required, and you can register at that link on the screen, bosca.org/classes. Just scroll down until you find this workshop. So if you're interested in learning how to take care of the trees and other landscape to ensure that they survive throughout the drought, especially trees because of the many benefits that they provide our communities, highly encourage you to register and attend and spend your Saturday morning with us. Next slide, please. So these are some of the conservation programs that we offer our commercial customers. A number of them are the same ones that we offer our residential customers, such as the turf replacement rebate and the rain barrel rebate programs. But we also offer a number of water use efficiency survey and water use budget programs as well. Next slide, please. So another important tool that the district is using to respond to drought is our water waste monitoring and enforcement process. ACWD has an ordinance in place that prohibits water waste from occurring in our service area. And examples of water waste include excessive runoff from irrigation and leaks from broken irrigation systems. And we've actually seen these water waste reports increase a lot in the past couple of months. We've seen about 6 times more reports in the past couple of months compared to early months of 2021, which are considered pre-drought activity. Likely because, as people become more aware about the severity of the drought, they become more engaged and more willing to report these waterway situations that they see in the community because they understand the importance of conserving, especially during a drought. So if you ever see water waste in the community, please report it to ACWD as soon as possible so we can identify the responsible party and work to get it addressed as soon as possible. And you can report any water waste that you see by using our online reporting form at acwd.org/report waste. And now I'll pass it back on to Megan.
Thank you, Giselle. Yeah, so in summary, we've experienced these extreme drought conditions. ACWD's reacted by starting a One Saves Water campaign, enhancing our rebate offerings and monitoring waterways. Unfortunately, we're still not meeting our mark. So if we were to be meeting that 15% reduction, we'd be tracking at the purple line, which is 15% lower than our 2020 demands, which is what the governor has asked us to target towards. So the orange line is 2020, which is our baseline. The purple line is our goal, and the red line there in the middle is where we're tracking at. As of October 1st, we were 5% below 2020. September 1st, we were 8%. And while we're still calculating the values for November 1st, we're still not meeting that 15%, although we're doing a little better due to the rains. So unfortunately, despite our efforts, The Tri-City area is still not reducing its demands as much as we'd like to see. Next slide, please. So what would it take to get there? If we were to meet that 15% goal, it would require a 36% overall reduction in annual irrigation, and that's including parks and urban landscapes. But unfortunately, it continues to be looking dry in the forecast. So if 2022 is a dry year, it could present in an extreme or unprecedented emergency scenario for the district, which may result in state mandated conservation, so coming from the state or the governor's office. ACWD itself could declare a water shortage emergency or adopt water use restrictions in accordance with the water shortage contingency plan, which is a plan that's developed through the urban water management planning process to kind of define a plan for dry years. Or finally, ACWD could establish a stage water rate. So Giselle will now describe what would happen if we were to take those steps.
Thank you, Megan. So ACWD may adopt an ordinance that imposes water use restrictions in our service area, and that ordinance would aim to conserve ACWD's water supply by doing the following: minimizing landscape irrigation while maintaining landscape viability, minimizing water waste, and restricting other non-essential uses. This ordinance would likely establish a limit on the number of days per week that sites can be irrigated, with an additional day for recreation areas. Adopting this ordinance may increase the need for water waste enforcement as well. And stay tuned by joining us at the November 17th ACWD board meeting. Now I'll pass it on back to Megan.
Great, thank you, Giselle. Yes, and we're doing what we can, what we have control over. So actions that ACWD is doing to conserve water itself is to highlight our demonstration garden, which is a water efficient garden. It's actually Rebate friendly rated that received funding to get renovated in 2016. So our customers have an example of what their garden could look like, or certain plants that they like. It also has informational signage that you can go and learn about. We do a variety of things that listed here, including getting our fleet vehicles washed at a commercial car wash that recycles water. And we also conduct irrigation surveys routinely. So we're making sure that we don't have any leaks out there either. But the reason why we're here tonight really is the next slide, please, that we need your help. You know, we're calling on our customers to really help us meet our conservation goals so it doesn't get worse. Ways that we foresee actions from our community is participate in our One Saves Water campaign. On our website, we have tons of drought hacks and different ways to save. We'd also love to see you share a conservation tip with us, and we would be able to post it to our social media. So you would just send a tip in along with your photo of yourself and how you save water to the email listed there, publicaffairs@acwd.com. You can also install a drought yard sign in your lawn. We have them available at our ACWD lobby located on Grimmer and Automall. And it's a drought sign that kind of you can stick in your yard that says, I water one less day a week, and to kind of bring awareness to your neighborhood. And finally, you know, really participating in water use efficiency programs that the district's offering. I would especially encourage you to take advantage of the programs that were enhanced due to drought, you know, getting that extra dollar that may be only available for a limited time. And the last bullet there is what Giselle mentioned, you know, keeping your eyes out for leaks in the community, alerting us to them, or if you have one yourself, fixing them as soon as possible. And with that, the next slide, we'd really love to hear from you. If you have any questions, we have several of our team members ready to answer them. We would like to get questions from the public first. Laura, I don't know if you want to say a few words before we open it to Q&A.
Sure. Thank you, Megan. And we just encourage everybody to go ahead and use any method that you wish. The Q&A feature is available that you can type a question in there, or we're going to go ahead and allow everybody here to talk so that you can just speak out and ask your question live here. So maybe we don't see any in the Q&A. So how about I'll go ahead and turn it back over to the team and feel free to just, if you've got a question, go ahead and unmute yourself and speak up. And I'm not hearing everybody. I think we got everybody unmuted. Megan, I think were we both clicking? So it looks like we've gotten everybody unmuted.
So, Ms. Hydas, this is Director Sethi.
Mhm.
I will give deference to anybody from the public that wishes to speak first, but I do have a comment to make.
Okay, is there anyone that would like to speak up? Or if not, I'm not hearing anybody, so go for it. And maybe folks are still thinking of their questions.
Okay, so this is a repeat of the public special board meeting we had earlier today at noontime, in which Director Weed, Director Gunther, and myself participated. In this meeting, we have Director Gunther and myself again participating with Director Wong. I purposefully have made it a point to participate this evening to hear extra public comments, which I'm really interested in. So I'm looking forward to any public comments that may be made here. But I do want to highlight what I brought up in the earlier special board meeting, which is in reference to our water conservation turf replacement program and other rebate programs, in which our customers have to file a W-9 form with the IRS. Because all of these rebates that we're offering as a water agency are taxable after they receive their rebate. And I am very much against that. And that's why I was asking the questions in reference to the W-9 form, because I don't think most customers understand that they have to file a W-9 form with the IRS as a recipient of our rebate programs, and that they have to file these W-9 forms and submit them to the water district in terms of qualifying for their turf replacement programs and other rebate programs. This is all considered taxable income when they receive a rebate. I am very much opposed to this. I am on the Aqua Local Government Committee, which is meeting later this month. And I'm going to ask, because I see our General Manager Ed Stevenson is online here, whether we can request a review by our state lobbyists that represent the district to look at legislation which is out there that will support getting rid of the taxation of water conservation efforts within the state of California. As far as I know, none of the rebate programs from the energy industry and other areas are taxable, but the water industry is taxable. And I think that in terms of conservation, if we're trying to encourage people to conserve water, we should be working to support legislation that gets rid of this pitfall for people. And I'm going to work on it in the next session of our Aqua State Local Government Affairs Committee. And I'm going to ask our committee to refer this, if I can get the necessary support, over to the Aqua Legislative Committee, so we can get Aqua as a state organization organized behind trying to get rid of this. And if we can find a legislator local who can support our efforts, I would really encourage us to do so. Those are my comments for the evening. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for those comments. We appreciate that. I want to open it up. I forgot to mention you're welcome to raise your hand in the Zoom app or just go ahead and unmute yourself if any of our customers online would like to have a question. I see a hand from Ken N. Ken, the floor is yours.
Hi. Maybe I'll start with a response to Director Sathi's previous comment. Yeah. So this is an issue. One alternative that the district may want to consider is, according to the IRS Revenue Ruling 91-36, a fee reduction structure may be one way to avoid the potential taxability of a rebate. The other approach that I believe would could help is to work with the state legislature and structure the rebate as a state tax credit. So those are the two comments that I have on that point. My question regarding the topic at hand tonight, going back, I think a few slides, there was an interesting statistic that said that I believe it says to meet the goal of 15% water reduction or consumption reduction, we need to reduce the irrigation by 36%. And I'm kind of curious, as I drive around or ride my bike around the city of Fremont, the big, huge swaths of lawn are either the city parks or East Bay Regional Park District parks. And I'm curious, how are they doing in meeting the 15% goal? Are they meeting the 15% goal, or are they part of the problem?
Great question. And I know our team has been coordinating very closely with all of our local stakeholders, the cities and the park district. So Megan and Giselle, would one of you like to tackle this one?
Sure. Yeah, great question, Ken. And a lot of the areas that are parks are what we consider functional turf. So we're really, some of our rebates to get rid of turf are really for the ornamental grasses that aren't really utilized, but like sports fields and parks that are being utilized for maybe children or games, like that's, technically functional. So we're really not trying to be the bad guys out there trying to get rid of recreational fields, but I will say that we interact with the public or our stakeholders very often. So like city parks, regional parks, and schools and things like that. And we actually provide them water budgets based on their landscape area. And we compare their actual use to what we think they should be using based on weather and site characteristics. And almost every year they're way below, just because I don't know, maybe it's the city budgets, but I know when we last met with the city of Fremont, they had a mandate in 2020 to reduce like over 25% based on 2019 because of restrictions in their budget and things. So they are efficient, because they have to be, but I think there's, oftentimes still more gently guiding them to replace some of the non-functional turf.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Great. Any other questions from our attendees today? Feel free to just jump on in. We've got the experts here. Any question you have on water conservation, we can absolutely tackle. And I'm not seeing hands, and we have a shy crowd today. Maybe I'll put it out there if we've got any other questions from our board members that have logged in too.
Well, okay, fine. I'll ask a second question. Yeah, so this has to do with rain barrels. I think I believe the district does offer a rebate on rain barrels, and the principle is very sound. Is when it rains, especially when we get something like the atmospheric river where it rains 4 inches in a period of 24 hours, there's plenty of water coming off of one's roof. I guess my question is really on the installation. I think a lot of us understand rain barrels, but maybe a little bit gun shy about the actual installation mechanism, or how that how the rain barrel works once it's been installed. Is that material available on the website, or maybe a little bit more pointers about the actual connection to the gutter and what one has to do would be helpful.
Yeah, Giselle, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, for sure. So that's a really great point. And you're right, we do offer a rebate for rain barrels of $50 per rain barrel, up to 2 rain barrels, so maximum 100. And on our website, if you go to acwd.org/rebates, and you scroll down to the rain barrel rebate section, we do have links that kind of provide guidelines on what you should consider when installing, and what needs to be part of the rain barrel setup and installation. So we do have those guidelines and frequently asked questions available on our website.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks. And Giselle, I'm wondering, did we have a workshop at one point on the rain barrels? Would that be available on our website?
I think that was before my time, but I think there is one, right, Megan? On our website, there should be a recording.
Yeah, that's actually a great resource, because we had a professional that kind of did a demo of installation, and there is some code compliance that's involved around it, because if you have a vat of open water, you could be attracting mosquitoes. So there is some things you need to look out for, which is why you should refer to the resources or that video, which is great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Stevenson, this is Director Sethi. So since this is a formal special board meeting, we have a quorum here. May I request that at the very next LICA committee meeting, or at the one in December, that we have a review with our legislative lobbyists about potential legislation to support or even author on the subject that I have raised here about trying to get rid of the taxation on water conservation rebates.
Yeah, Director Sethi, and good evening, everybody. Yeah, my name is Ed Stevenson. I'm the General Manager of Alameda County Water District. And yeah, this is something that we've supported in the past, but there's not been a real movement yet. So we can talk to our legislative partners about ways of options for moving something like that forward. And we can present at the next LICA committee about how those conversations go and what those options might be.
Thank you very much.
That sounds good to me, Director Sethi.
Great, well, thank you. Any other questions? We've got still plenty of time if anybody's got a last question here. And I see we have someone new that's joined us. I'm allowing everybody to talk just in case. So feel free to ask your water conservation question if you've got one. Feel free to just unmute and shout it out or raise your hand. We've got a few more minutes still. Oh, I see. Oh, thank you. We've got in the chat, Stephanie Nevins, our water conservation supervisor, has posted the recording. So if you do want to take a look at that past landscape workshop and the rain barrel, you've got a link there in the chat, which is a great resource. Thanks, Stephanie. All right, well, I'm not seeing any hand raised. Maybe we can just wait one more minute or two if anyone wants to chime in, or any other board members have a question.
I would like to thank the staff. I've sat in on both, and yeah, there were quite a few questions earlier in the day, very interesting ones. So I appreciate all the work you've done, and this was another good meeting. Thank you.
And this is Director Wong. Thank you. Great presentation. On the subject of rain barrels, I seem to remember recalling having a conversation with one of our customers, and she's a little bit on the elderly side, and she wants to install rain barrels. So doing self-installation was very difficult for her. So she actually made the suggestion that is it possible for us to have a list of possible contractors that they can contact? Is that a type of resource that we could potentially add to our website?
That is a great question. And I'm not sure if do we have resources, lists like that, Megan, of specific contractors, or that might be something we need to look into? No.
Yeah, it gets
Yeah.
a little tricky when we directly, refer people to private industry, but we do guide people to people that have gotten certifications in water efficiency. So if they've completed a QUEL course, which is Qualified Water Efficient Landscaper, there is some reuse and recapture education in that certification. But there are several contractors that do installations in our service area. So I'm sure we'd be able to help that person out. But we don't have a list of contractors we recommend currently.
So if we have questions, if we receive questions like that, we could just direct them towards staff, right? Is that what I'm hearing? And we could possibly help our customers out. If they call, for example, our helpline saying, hey, I need to look for someone to help me install the rain barrels, because I will tell you, I would be hesitant cutting into my downspout, my rain gutter to install this rain barrel, right?
Yeah, of course. We'd love to help customers out, and we know like where to point them.
So give you a call.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think we can also look into whether or not there are already published lists of, QUEL contractors out there or others that would be able to do this, such that we're not really endorsing them directly. I mean, that's where the difficulty comes into play, as Megan points out. But there may be already resources and lists out there that we can list on the website that would help too.
Yeah.
But certainly, you're right. If anybody's got questions, here's the number on the screen here. Feel free to give us a call. We're certainly motivated to help you in any way we can.
Yes, so this is Director Sethi, and I'll try to close here. We had a little bit broader public participation at noontime today, and Mr. Stevenson, I would encourage you to think about maybe future meetings that are held midday where we get more public participation. And I was really intrigued by a lot of the questions that were asked, but I will say I was most impressed with the ability of our staff, in specific Ms. Marino and Ms. Delgadillo, to answer impromptu the great questions that were asked by our public and direct them to resources, and Ms. Haitis as well. And it was a wonderful noontime presentation. And I received, I'm showing it right here, right now, my drought tolerant card from yesterday, the One Saves Water campaign program. And I wrote back to the staff yesterday, what creative, it was so creative. I was laughing as soon as I popped this card out of my mailbox, and I've got it posted here on my bookshelf. And what a great job by staff in the creativity to make our community aware of the need to save water right now, even though we're going into the winter time and most people don't think of saving water in the middle of the winter. But thank you to the staff. What a wonderful presentation you put together. And I'm very appreciative of it. And I wish there were more community members participating at noon or this evening. But I think I can say on behalf of Director Gunther and Director Wong, myself, we represent all of our community. And so we take this very seriously. I think that's why both Director Gunther and I are participating in both meetings today, because we do really earnestly want to hear back from our community. And so I thank everyone for all the effort that they put in to doing these two joint presentations today. Thank you so much.
Great. Well, thank you. And we anticipate this probably won't be our last drought outreach meeting. So we may be having more in our future. We really appreciate folks coming today. So
I'd like to add the comment too, Director Sethi's correct, that, yeah, it was very interesting that we had quite a few. I can't remember exactly how many we had today, but we had several members of the public, and they asked some very interesting questions. And I do appreciate that, and I appreciate the staff effort to make that happen. And as to answer those questions, because some of them were very interesting. So anything else, Laura? Or
I don't think we can ask one last time. Feel free to unmute or raise a hand or throw something in the Q&A if you've got a last moment question, but I'm not hearing anything. I'm not seeing anything.
well, I guess if you're ready to close it up, we can close it up.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for coming and for caring about this topic. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.